City Sports.
It's a trap!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is the Team of Rivals podcast.
Everything you want to hear from the big sport to the big screen.
He's all by himself, fires into the end zone. Touchdown! No!
On into the windup and his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Time winding down, wide open three. Yes, she is. Go!
You may fire when ready.
What?
Good evening, Cubs and Cardinals fans. It's Thursday, April 4th, and this is the Team of Rivals podcast. Look, we got all kinds of stuff we're going to talk about, including some late-breaking news that apparently Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers are complete dicks. We'll also talk about the Cubs being one of the most objectively enjoyable teams in baseball this year. Talk a little bit about the first week of the year. We'll definitely get into, just how blessed Cubs fans are right now. Just a little preview of that.
And they chant for Cody. High fly ball, right field, on its way, and Belly answers off the scoreboard. Woo!
You can follow us on social media, Team of Rivals Pod. For those of you who prefer to watch the show, we also post to YouTube, Facebook, and stream like we are tonight. So hit the like and subscribe buttons and be sure the notifications are on so you know anytime we post new content. You can find more great podcast and blog content on the Gateway City and Fuel Sports Networks. Joining me for this week's show, co-founder of TOR and number 151 in the 2023 edition of C70's Top Cards on Twitter, Ron Nuttall, and permanent occasional guest host. He's got a hitting streak almost as long as, Mookie Betts, I guess, maybe. Elliott Dewey. Oh, and just for the this thing doesn't, it automatically generates a transcript, but it doesn't know that I'm Pete Geddes, one of the three co-hosts. Gentlemen, welcome tonight. We've got all those other things to cover, but what I want to start out with, the most important thing on the agenda for tonight, who on your team do you rationally or irrationally, irrationally, there's no reason for it, who on your team do you hate right now? And by your team, I mean the Cubs or the Cardinals. It just crossed my mind last night when I was watching the Cubs game, and I thought, I can't be the only one Oster and just hates seeing them step into the batter's box. So, Elliott, which Cub do you hate?
See, I don't have a hate for any of them. I have annoyances with some players.
All right, so let's hear it.
So sometimes I'm annoyed with Ian Happ and the way that he takes his approach to batting. I feel like sometimes that it's lazy. In that he's I feel like he's just staring out past the pitcher when he's up to bat instead of paying attention to what he needs to be, because he's just up there and it's just like a lazy swing of the bat. And I'm like, come on, man, a little bit of effort here. So that's where my annoyance lies.
Anybody else, or Ian Happ is in the leadoff spot?
He's in the leadoff spot of my annoyance.
Nice.
And
Ron.
the annoying that he's in the leadoff spot.
Well, not every day. Ron, who on the Cardinals do you irrationally hate or dislike?
Does he even know who's on the team?
Hey, Ron, you should unmute yourself. No?
Sorry, no, I'm used to the mute button being on the other spot here. I'm not used to this new
interface that we're using. I haven't watched them enough to develop anything like that yet. But if I go off of
past performance,
well, you have to call it. If I go off the veteran Cardinal right now, and he's injured, he's been out, so he hasn't really been able to play, and that would be Dylan Carlson. For all the hype train that my buddies out there on Twitter X, all the prospects fans, for the hype train that guy came up on, boy, has it been a lot less than that. But I think it's more so just the I at least want to see the guy hit a foul ball hard. Anything. So it's not a fair question yet. I haven't watched him enough, but if I have to pick one that I'm guessing I'm a little annoyed with, it'd be DC.
All right. Well, the part of the reason why I was motivated to ask this question,
you want to know the record holder?
Oh, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
We're going to get to that because it developed in my brain and I wanted to spring it on you, but I kind of figured that you.
I've got an oldie and a goodie.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, Elliott and I share the same one, although that I think that mine has evolved well beyond dislike. And I this is no surprise to anybody who's been listening to us for any length of time. I can't stand Ian Happ. You're right, Elliott. He looks like he's not particularly motivated when he's in the batter's box. And I don't care that he's getting on base all the time right now. And that I don't care. I don't like his approach. And if you were, and what motivated it was watching last night's game, right? Because he just didn't look like he was hustling in the back. And then he just lazily goes running back at our Gold Glove, 2-time Gold Glove left fielder, which tells you just left fielders are in defense. Our 2-time Gold Glove winning left fielder just lazily tracks the ball with the wind howling in at Wrigley Field in April, just gives up on a ball that doesn't even make it to the wall. He didn't even hustle back to try to catch it. He thought he was going to get it bouncing off the wall, and instead it just falls in for a double because he was taking his time. I think he was either counting his dividend check from Connect Roasters, or else he was busy checking his stock on his phone and missed that the ball had been hit, and so he had to put his iPhone away first before he got into it. So, and have you ever? I mean, it's bad enough listening to it. Have you ever watched one of their recordings of the compound?
No, but I've seen like clips, but I don't.
I swear to God, he records every one lying in his bed. Like, seriously, sit up and give us a little bit of energy. And please act like you care about anything.
What is that, a podcast or something that he does?
Yeah, him, Dakota Mekas, and Zach Short with the Detroit. They all came up together.
Started during COVID with Nico Horner, and Nico Horner decided to take his career seriously. And he dropped out not long. All right, so, Ron, you alluded to it, and I'll jump in first just because, I have the mic. All time for me, Cub that I hate, and I've been consistent on this one. I could never stand Sammy Sosa. If he never patches things up with the Cubs and never appears at an official Cubs event, either at Wrigley Field or Cubs convention, it'll be too soon for me. I can't stand the guy. He's a phony. Thanks for the win, Sammy. I can't stand your act. Just shut up. Just seriously. Shut up.
That wasn't a hard one to predict.
No. Ron, greatest hits, Cardinal.
Oh boy. So there are three that I can think of, but I think who holds the title belt has to be Harrison Bader. Yeah, it has to be Harrison Bader.
Got a recent one.
That is a recent one, and I don't know. I mean, there's a list. I mean, if you want a top five, Harrison Bader's the top five. The way the guy, his body language, the way he carried himself, like his talent was never anywhere near that. His results were never anywhere near how that guy acted out in the field, even when he was taking it bat. The little bat flip, the tap in the shoes, the hair, the swagger, wherever he tried to call it, it just never, like, his results never matched up. He was Willie Mays Hayes to the T up to spring training in the Major League movie. That's exactly who that guy is. And the other one was Tyler O'Neill, and I don't think that was his fault. I think it was more like the fans that got me annoyed with him. Randall Grichuk is another one, still recent, but Randall Grichuk was one like, okay, man, how many miles of runway are we going to give these guys before we cut bait? He was another one. They just ran out there too long, too often. Kip Wells, That's going back a little bit, but Kip Wells spent 1 year with the Cardinals. I think Tony La Russa may be his most hated player, if I had to guess. And then the other one, let me see. Kip Wells is a good one. I'm going to have to say is another pitcher, and I have to say the post 2006 Jason Marquis was quite annoying to watch. So there's my top 5.
Wow, I was looking for one.
I didn't even prep for that. You didn't give me an email. I mean, this is an easy one.
Ron has been sitting there with the gun locked and loaded, just waiting.
Yes, he has.
Been waiting 7 years for that question.
Elliott, how about you? Which club do you love? Historically, love to hate.
Carlos Marmol. Man,
Really?
any time that guy came in, it must have been just when I watched, because I felt like he came in and he gave it up. Whether we were up by 5 or 1, he gave it up and he screwed the pooch, and everybody would just leave pissed. So he annoyed the shit out of me.
You want my Cubs list?
Yeah, please.
How much time do we have?
100%.
How much time do we have?
give us your top 5.
See,
because
Sammy
I know
wasn't my most hated, but he didn't belong in this race of 98. I know what we all think of it right now, but hold on, this was a Broadway show. What the hell is this guy doing here? Like, who let him in? And but I've never really hated him. I have to say that the Cubs that I've despised the most. Oh shit, guys, there's so many to pick from. I'm trying not to go with recency bias here, but I have to agree with Pete on Ian Happ, because for some reason
kills the Cardinals.
Kind of like Jake Arrieta, doesn't look like he enjoys playing at all. He's always batting when he's hot. He's always batting in the 9th against St. Louis. He always comes up. I mean, it doesn't matter if he made the last out in the 8th inning or not. He's leading off the 9th inning. It seems like every time. So Ian Happ, I gotta go for that one. But I don't know if he's my most hated Cub in history. At the time, my most hated Cub was Carlos Zambrano. But now that I've put distance between it, I kind of enjoy that. I enjoyed the potential of him exploding on any given night. What did he beat the hell out of? A Gatorade machine?
The Gatorade machine and the cooler.
I hated him when 2003 when we had a great year, and he had a few good years after that too. But he was my most hated Cub, I think, at any given moment when he was active. But now I don't know, missed that potential head case, like just any given night meltdown. But there you go. There could be so many more guys, but Zambrano at the time is probably the Cub I despise the most. Kenny Lofton was pretty bad too.
God, I mean, my number one hated Cardinal is easy. It's Yadier Molina.
Yeah, it has to be Molina.
Yeah, I mean, he annoys the shit out of me. Just the way he looks.
You have to repeat
complains that. About everything. The way he could frame everything just perfectly and get those damn strikes called 3 inches off the plate.
Oh well,
fuck him.
Whoa! I didn't even drop one of those yet.
Yeah,
and the funny thing is my number 2 actually became a Cub, and I enjoyed him while he was playing for the Cubs, was Jim Edmonds.
Edmonds, yeah. There's a lot of people that didn't like him when he was on St. Louis.
Hollywood just looked grumpy out there.
He did, and Hollywood Jim is what it was. He times it so he has to dive for the ball, all that kind of stuff, right?
100%.
He did complain a lot about balls and strikes, but he was good, and I understand why he was irritating. He was good when he was there. When he was going hot, he was a pretty good Cardinal that decade.
Well, I mean, I can see or why we continue to do this show, because we have so many overlaps, right? My least favorite current Cub, Ian Happ. We all share that. Obviously, my historically least favorite Cardinal, it's Yadier Molina running away with it. I mean, it's not even a competition. And also I mean, Harrison Bader and Ron, like you knew this from the first time that we were at a game together and I saw him, and I already had developed an enmity for him.
What a douche, right? Like that was kind of the
not
he's that kind of guy. You know, he's going to take your girlfriend as soon as you walk away from her. If you get 6 feet away from her, he's going to make his move, right? Like,
yep,
he just struck you as that type of dude.
That's right.
Gosh, I can't believe I forgot about a couple other Cubs. I mean, it comes from that same era when the Cubs were good. You know, Mark Pryor was a dick too, I thought. But then I've had empathy for him just in his physical breakdown after that. He never got to see the career that everybody thought he was going to have. So that is kind of a bummer. But
that's why you shouldn't use steroids, kids.
Oh, is that what it is? Have you seen the this year pictures of Adolis Garcia floating around out there?
Oh my goodness.
He's all natural. Incredible. I mean, here's the thing. If you would have looked at a picture of my dad at age 35 versus a picture of my dad like in his early 20s, my dad was an auto worker, Caterpillar UAW. Like he didn't take steroids or anything. What was he going to take steroids for? Softball? Like, but if you look at his physical build when in his early 20s, he was a beanpole. And then when you looked at him at 35, he was thick guy, right? Head probably grew about, 1.5 inches or so. It's hard to tell with some of these people. If you look at a really young photo, your metabolism screaming, it's hard to put on muscle, and then you get, wrong side of 30, and it's, I don't know if it's easier to put on muscle at that point, but, bodies and everything does change. But to change that quickly just from the World Series to now, man, that's either he hit it hard in the off season, like took some kind of program or what, but it's a stark difference.
Yeah, no, he's clearly on something. He's on the Barry Bonds
Falco
treatment. Yeah, he's on the cream in the clear.
Yeah. At least Bonds took a few years to get up to there. I mean,
right?
He gradually did it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the last 5 years of his career, he was just meat.
he was I think I used this term on the other show last week, but yeah, I think towards the end of his career, he was he was a human pop vinyl, right? Like that's what he was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at him in his his rookie season and his first 5 years. I mean, he used to steal 30, 40 bases a season. At the end of his career, he wouldn't steal a base if everybody was in the outfield.
No.
I don't think he had the flexibility to steal bases anymore. That's why he just
his muscles would pop off.
He had a Joe Biden gait by his last season, I think. He looked like a rusty pair of scissors that wouldn't open quite enough,
But he certainly had enough body armor on when he was up to bat too.
Right. I think Pete froze up on us again, but that's interesting. That's like
I believe he did.
Should be it should be like a autograph photo. Like if we ever have a booth someday, we'll just like that one. We should have taken a screenshot.
What, of me frozen?
You frozen. You've been coming in and out, but that's all right. It's you got to tell people in your building to get the hell off the internet or something.
Yeah, I just need to restart my computer, but we ain't got time for that right now.
We ain't got time for that.
All right, so gentlemen, I alluded to it in the intro, and I'm just going to come out and say it. Elliott, Ron, I know you're going to roll your eyes and you're going to check out on this one.
Yeah, probably.
Something. Elliott, I didn't realize what a golden age we were going to be living in for announcing. I mean, we had Harry Carey and he was great. And I really liked Len Casper. And I didn't have nearly as much of a problem with Chip Carey as other people did. And obviously Steve Stone is an all-timer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize how good we were going to have at getting Boog Sciambi calling games. The dude is awesome.
I was annoyed with him a little bit in the first year, but that's probably because the Cubs weren't that great. But the beginning of this season he's really, really grown, and I've really enjoyed it. I think him and JD finally have some really good chemistry that he had before, with Len Casper. So I feel like it's kind of all coming together, and they're actually riffing off of each other a little bit, because I enjoyed the shit out of them the other night when they were up 8-2, and then as the game progressed and they kind of talked about other things and about baseball, but not necessarily about the game, just kind of giving us cool little nuggets. And then as the game progressed on and it got closer and closer, then they really got back into the game. But it was awesome.
Yep. And he really has, I guess he just didn't get enough exposure when he was on ESPN, because they always kind of had he was in a lot, but still you had kind of a room of announcers. And so you wouldn't consistently get him. And also, how many people
and I think the team that he worked with too kind of rolled. Like there was a rolling amount of different people, so you never really get that camaraderie and that relationship with the person or the people that you are working with. Not like he has now with JD and Taylor McGregor, and then the other one that they bring in usually for day games. Oh God, ex-softball player. I can't think of her name right now.
Softball, nobody cares. But what brought it to mind, and if you were just listening in at the top of the show, you would have thought that I was referring to Belly's home run the other night, which was great. But if you go back and listen to it, I'm going to play it again just because I enjoyed it so much. I just thought I loved Boog's call, right? The way that and the way that the best announcers do, right? He let the crowd tell the story. Yeah, just go ahead, go to sleep, Ron. Enjoy this.
God, this segment sucks.
Fly ball right field, on its way, and Belly answers off the scoreboard. Woo!
There you go. Perfect economy of words. You don't need to run it into the ground with your description. The audience's reaction is much better than anything that you could have possibly added. And I don't think that there are a lot of announcers who understand that.
No, you're right. A lot of them try to paint too much of a picture when you're watching it, whereas having that crowd reaction and listening to the crowd to kind of give you that experience that you feel like you're there is way more impactful than anything that the announcer can say.
And Ron, look, we're reveling in this because we haven't had the legendary announcers that the Cardinals have had. Obviously over on the radio side we have.
Yeah, radio side mostly, yeah.
You guys have had some pretty good announcers.
We have, and I tell you, it's one of the I think possibly a couple of the best, or a couple that I can't follow, unfortunately, because I don't speak Spanish. But I think if you on the Cardinal Spanish broadcast, and people put clips of them on Twitter every once in a while, and I love it. Right, Paulo Asensio and Benji Molina. Right, they do their I think they do all the home games. Spanish broadcast. Those guys are great. But yes, on the radio, we've been totally spoiled, for 50, almost 60 years with Jack Buck for the longest time. Shortly after he passed, John Rooney has been there since 2005, and John Rooney's just fantastic on the radio. Of course, Mike Shannon was there riding along with them, both those guys, for a very long time, and we lost him last year. But yeah, the radio side has been fantastic. And we had Danny Mac for a couple of decades on TV, and he was pretty solid. Chip, I give Chip a pass from last year. I don't know what he felt like a few months in, leaving Atlanta to be calling games for that train wreck in St. Louis last year. That must have been a kind of a bummer, a big homecoming return for him. But like, Jesus, did I get dropped in the middle of 1995 here? This team is terrible. But I don't know. Don't pay attention to Cardinals social media because they hate every announcer. The announcer has to be young, and they have to be cool. If they're any of these old school guys that have been around a while, Cardinals social media fans tend to hate them. And I just ignore all of it, which is why we're going on, April 4th. I still have almost everybody Cardinals entrenched has been muted for a long time on X. Since like August. I recommend everybody try that once in a while. Makes it tolerable.
So
anyway,
we're a week in, Ron. The Cardinals are sitting at 500. Have you watched any games?
The game today was actually the free MLB.TV game this week or of the day, and so I did catch a couple innings right in the middle of it. Of course, I caught the part where Miami went up 4-1, but I'm like, well, that's because I'm watching. Lynn got the home opener to start today. He actually looked pretty good. He just had that one bad inning, but he looked pretty good. But the Cardinals bounced back. They came back. I walked back out of the garage where I had it playing, and I'm like, oh, now they're up like it was 8-3 or 8-4, or something like that. But yeah, they ended up winning. They're at 500, 3-4 on the West Coast trip, and I guess most people would. What's happened to us now since 2015 is now that's become a good road trip, going 3-4. Rather than what I would have expected like 9 years ago. And that is you better come back like, 5-2, 4-3 at worst case scenario. But now we've been trained to feel like 3-4. That's pretty good because you were playing the Dodgers. So that's where we're at. But they're at 500. The Pirates are running away with the division though.
Yeah, freaking 7-1 right now.
Are they? I'm looking at ESPN. It says 6-1. It must be up right now.
They won tonight.
Well, we know that won't last.
Well, we saw that last year too, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they started out hot at the beginning of the year last year, didn't they?
Yeah. And then they remembered they were the Pirates.
Right. Elliott, we're above 500.
We are.
How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Last night was kind of worrying, but that's Cubs are going to Cubs every once in a while. But for the most part, Shota Imanaga looked really good in his MLB debut. Struck out 9, pitched 6 innings. Hendricks kind of worries me a bit. But I feel like he usually struggles in the beginning of the year and then kind of finds himself after a couple of starts. So, yeah, I mean, the offense actually looks good all around. Seiya Suzuki, man, that dude is just right back to where he was the last half of last season, and that makes me super excited. I would love to see that guy just continue the rest of the year. So, shaky defense these first few games, which most of that's at third base. They need to get that freaking figured out. I have a feeling it's going to be somebody from the Iowa Cubs. It's got to be. The answer is not Morel right now, and definitely not Nick Madrigal. I've got a feeling that there's either going to be some jockeying around or somebody from Iowa is going to get called up. So,
wow, Elliott ready to cut bait after a week.
Well, you play 4 games at third base and you have 4 errors at third base. Doesn't bode well for what's happening.
Yeah,
but I mean, you can't do that when you play the Dodgers. You gotta. I got a feeling Morel's going to be DH for those 3 games because you can't give up an inch to those guys. They are so good.
Speaking of the Dodgers, I'm actually going to divert because, Elliott, you give us the perfect opportunity to jump in on this one. I don't know if you guys caught this story. Came across my feed pretty late. But there is a report in The Athletic about Shohei Ohtani's first home run as a Dodger.
Oh, I did see this.
Sam Bloom,
the fan who caught it.
Do you happen to catch this one, Ron?
No.
Bad look for the Dodgers, and by extension, Ohtani. I'm sure he didn't actually have anything to do with this, but oh my goodness. So this caught Ohtani's baseball, and the usual negotiation that goes on in the outfield, right? We're going to get you some signed memorabilia, meet and greet with the player, whatever. We just really want to get the ball back. Well, here's a story that Sam Bloom wrote, and I'll try and cut it down. Within minutes, that storybook moment turned into a stressful and chaotic situation that left Roman and her husband feeling pressured and possibly swindled by the Dodgers. As is customary with significant home run balls, there's a give and take negotiation between the team and the fan who catches it. Roman and Valenzuela say the security staff separated them. Valenzuela, by the way, is her husband. Pressured them and left them little choice but to hand over the baseball for what they considered a low ball effort. You know what they got for Shohei Ohtani's first home run ball, and the market apparently said that this thing would probably go at auction for $100,000 or more. You know what the Dodgers gave them? 2 hats signed by Shohei Ohtani.
Oh my God.
2 hats, and that's it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Are
No
they trying to
degree,
become, are they trying
no
to become
picture.
the most hated franchise? Like,
I think they are.
Okay, so hold on. So didn't I just see the other day when the Reds and the Dodgers were playing that one of the Reds players hit his first home run?
Mookie Betts.
The fan caught it, said, "Hey, it's his first home run," and threw it back in. Mookie Betts out in right field grabbed the bat the next inning and gave the fan a bat.
Mm-hmm.
And then that Reds fan took the bat and gave it to a Dodgers fan kid. It's like Mookie Betts did more just because. Holy shit.
Now, it does go on to say that eventually she negotiated to add a signed bat and a ball to her return. But he talked to the reporter talked to the director of sports auctions at Heritage Auctions, who estimated that each of her signed items $1,000 each. So for an estimated $100,000 baseball, they got $4,000, and didn't get to meet Shohei, didn't get to get a picture with him. Just here's your bat, your ball, your 2 hats, go away. And the way that they describe it, it's not good. It says here, they didn't want my husband to influence my decision. At least that's how I took it. It was a little pressuring, especially because it was like, I need you to give me an answer like right now. You got to make up your mind. And the Dodgers said, let me find it.
Well, didn't the Dodgers say they wouldn't authenticate the ball if she didn't hand it over?
Yeah, I'm trying to find that. Can't find it right now, but yeah, the Dodgers actually, the security staff pulled her aside, separated her from her husband and said, look, you need to make a decision right now. If you walk out with this bat, we're not going to, or you walk out with this ball, we won't authenticate it. Good luck trying to auction it for anything of value because you won't be able to prove that it's the actual ball.
Well,
yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit.
That's pretty shitty. I mean, that's normally what you see. I don't know what happens every time, guys, but with any other player at any other stadium, I feel like those clubs really kind of roll out the red carpet for those people.
Usually.
And show that they're very fan friendly. And, of course they want that souvenir back. They want to keep it with the club. They want to get it to the player. I understand that.
Well, it usually gets authenticated right away, and then they send it to the Hall of Fame, or it goes in a case, and it goes.
Of course, I'll send it to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to replace Babe Ruth as the face of baseball. Everybody's hell bent on that. Somebody posted, yeah. Well, anyway, total shit story, man. I can't. I don't know. Of course, I can sit here and armchair quarterback and I said, "F you." Certainly, you're not going to delete that from TV. So I'm going to have somebody take a screenshot of me in the stands with the damn ball. And I don't care whether you authenticate it or not. It's a Major League Baseball. It's going to have a big dent on it. And that's just.
And I'll keep it.
You. Yeah.
Because somebody will pay the $100,000 because they're going to look at the picture of you catching the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be like, okay, yeah, no, I trust you.
Knowing that, like every Dodgers fan from now on, just get your cell phone out if you get something. Better authenticate it yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Duke in the YouTube chat says they should have just kept it to deny him because of that.
And ask people in the stands around you, like, hey, did anybody get that? Anybody film that? Film me getting it? Because I'm going to get screwed here at why didn't they just give him a Dodger dog?
Well, I mean, you got to give him something that's actually worth something, and that's not going to cost some intensity.
Dodger dog. We'll have him. He'll teabag it. Okay, and then you can have that. Yeah, that's a terrible story. So speaking of old Shohei, right? So it's just sickening. Some of the shit posts you see about him. Or somebody the other day posted, boy, Shohei's in a slump and batting 267. When that bat wakes up, it's over for the rest of the league. And I had to respond, be like, oh yeah, when he gets back up to that 274 lifetime batting average, it's over. Hey, watch out. Everybody. All right. So I know he's a good player, guys. I know it's very rare that somebody's good enough to be able to pitch in this league and be a position player in this league. I get all of that, right? But 2 decades ago, they didn't allow players to do that. They weren't going to. Like whatever. I'm not going to go into who could have been a great pitcher or not. Just because somebody could throw hard doesn't mean they can pitch, right? Like there's throwers and there's pitchers, right? So I get it. It's hard. He's very talented. But let me read something to you from a former teammate of his. So let me read the very simple slash line here. Mike Trout, former teammate. Let me see. Lifetime batting average 301 for Mike Trout, 274 for Shohei Ohtani. Mike Trout's nearing 400 home runs. Ohtani's he'll have 200 this year, easy, right? Probably a few more. Look, sorry, the baseball reference screen updated and it had OPS and all the other bullshit that young people like. So I was going to read all that stuff too. And guess what? Mike Trout's numbers are higher than his across the board. Mm-hmm. He's a better position player. He's a better hitter than Shohei Ohtani.
He's a Gold Glove center fielder and has been every year since he's been in the league.
Another one of Ohtani's teammates in his first 11 years, you know who I'm talking about, before he went to LA, slash line was better than both of those guys. So I don't understand the sickening, this guy's the best person to ever grace us in the uniform. Gods must have sent him to us, right? I just, guys, help me understand it. Is it because he can pitch and hit, and is that the only thing? Because he's not the best at either. He's good, really good. He's not the best position player, and he's not the best pitcher. So everybody,
and then Elliott, I'm going to throw it to you. I think yes, it's because he can do both, and there really hasn't been anybody who can do that. But I think more importantly, I think Major League Baseball is pushing him because they see the potential in the Japanese market. And that's what this is all about.
Fine. I mean,
it's all about expanding baseball.
And I have no problem with that, right? Like, look, like when he came over, guys, I've been critical the whole time, and it's never been directed towards him. It's been at the way that the baseball media has treated it, and that's been my biggest issue. Declaring the Angels World Series contenders because he was coming over. Like, everybody calm the fuck down. Right? He's good. He's great. He's unique. But I don't understand this obsession at all.
Elliott?
I mean, I gotta agree with you, Pete. I mean, it's his uniqueness to the game is something that, yes, we haven't seen literally since Babe Ruth. But he does everything above average, which a lot of times you don't see pitchers perform that way ever. I mean, we haven't seen it because they've always been, and it could possibly be because they've always been taught to, hey, you're either going to focus on your hitting or you're going to focus on your pitching. That's it. There's kind of a line drawn to where coaches don't want them going back and forth, and maybe he just pushed it and said, no, I'm gonna do both. So it's hard to tell why everybody is so drawn to it, but I don't know. I mean, I kind of find myself paying attention a little bit more when he's up to bat too, just because he's good at what he does. So, but I would fully agree that Mike Trout, I mean, it's a shame that guy's in the market that he's in, because I think he would have been and still would be a superstar on a team like the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets or the Cubs, just somewhere not or with the Angels that maybe sniff the playoffs in a wild card, and that's it. It's a shame that he's out there.
It's criminal how many years he's played and how many playoff games he's been able to play in.
Yeah.
We're going to get back to him. This story just got worse. I mean, I don't know that it just got worse, but it got worse for me. Sam Bloom, who wrote the story, he posted a tweet a couple hours ago. Another important element of this story. Shohei Ohtani said via interpreter Will Ireton that he met with the fan who caught the ball. Quote, I was able to talk to the fan and was able to get it back, unquote.
That did not happen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we lost him. No, I did see that when they went and talked to the fan. The fan said, no, we did not talk with Shohei Ohtani. We did not see him at all.
Oh, and he's
So-
quoted as saying he did.
Correct. So, yeah, so it's going to look bad on him too. So they're going to need to rectify this situation a little bit more, or at least get their story straight.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they can do that too well.
No.
Anyway,
I think he's joining back in.
come on, Pete. Come on, buddy. You're better than this. Come on. I mean, he lives in you guys live in one of the biggest areas ever. You guys should have like rock solid internet. You know what it is, right? We always give you shit about having an Android phone. You know what it is.
It's his Mac.
It's his Mac.
I know. Hey, why do you think I got this thing sitting right next to me on my table?
Ever since I bought a gaming laptop to handle all this shit, I've never had a problem.
Yeah. Nope. Well, since I've booted this up, I haven't had any issues.
I think Spectrum Cable might be saboteuring all the AT&T fiber customers around here because they've been doing a lot of digging and putting new lines in and everything. And all of a sudden, my internet went out before we left for vacation.
Are you on AT&T fiber?
I've been on fiber for years. Yeah.
Oh man, and you guys have Google there too.
Not in this location, but anyway, while we're waiting for Pete to come in, the other thing I was just talking a little bit about the Cardinals. Hey, buddy, you're back.
All right. So, what part of that story were you able to, or that tweet were you able to story that I started
Pete,
on?
Elliott, recap it.
Well, I had also read the same thing you did, where the fan confirmed that she did not meet or talk to Shohei Ohtani,
But he claims that he did.
Right.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Solidifying. Oh my God, this team and this guy, like he keeps getting caught up in this shit. I'm starting to feel kind of thankful that he didn't end up with the Cubs because oh my God, this is terrible.
Yeah, but with the Cubs organization have botched it like the Dodgers seem to have, right?
No, we know that they wouldn't.
So
Cardinals would have.
This is
The way they've been going, they would have made it worse.
This may be great on Friday. So I know I don't know if you can watch the game at all on Fridays, Pete, at school, but some of the CHGO website, the podcast group, they're doing this Friday 120 Club thing. And they're going to go to every Friday game that's at home at Wrigley. For the Dodgers this week, they're going to make some signs and say, hey, Shohei, what's your prop bets this week? And then they're going to take a roulette table and put it in the O in his name. So I am very excited to see that this weekend or tomorrow, actually. So
I may actually have to check that out.
Yeah. Because if he's playing in the field, he's going to get heckled terribly, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, he'll be DH.
Pete, a thought that occurred to me earlier when you were talking about, my impression of the season so far, like what are some of the early things, right? I usually don't give many of those till we get about to the quarter mark, right? About game 40, you kind of know what you kind of know what you have by the 40th game. So in the first week, I think if you were to take out the first two bad games they played against the Dodgers, which they were uncompetitive, it's like the Dodgers were playing their own minor league team for a final tune-up before the season starts, right? Like the Cardinals just didn't show up in the first two games. Won the third, almost won the fourth, took it in 2 extra innings. So if I say, hey, first 2 games, if I get those out of the way, I'd say I've got a much better impression of what they can do, what their potential is. So 8 games, and if I take the first 2 and say, hey, look, man, they came out of the chute really slow, or barrel got clogged, or whatever you want to call it. Since then, though, they have looked better. But we'll see, man. Home opener against the Marlins today. Marlins is still the only winless team in baseball.
0-8. Yep.
Now they've got some major injuries, right? Like 4 of the core players of their team, one of them Sandy Alcantara, all out. And so, it's I know it's a rough go for them, and the manager of the year, Skip Schumacher, probably didn't envision starting off this way. But take it for what it's worth. They did come back and win tonight, but it was the Marlins, so I've got to chalk it up at that. But so far, okay, not bad. I mean, it could have been a lot worse start, I guess, but 500 for now, sure.
Well, something we were talking about him earlier, and it kind of ties into 500 now and see where you're at the quarter pole. Earlier this week, Ken Rosenthal posted a story. I don't know if you guys caught this one.
Oh, was this could be the year?
This could be the year that not only does Mike Trout approve of a trade, but that Artie Moreno signs off on a trade. That he could act, because, I mean, you mentioned it before, Ron. The guy's only played in, 3 playoff games in his career. He's going to a Hall of Fame, and he's barely sniffed the postseason. And so, of course, I threw up in my mouth a lot, because the thought crossed my mind, that is absolutely a Mo move to make. If they're in contention, he's calling the Angels.
That would be the kind of, I mean, I would agree to a point where,
right, Elliott?
Dude,
Pete
absolute nightmare.
How old is Trout? Is he 30, 32, 31?
32?
I think 32.
Okay. Yeah. So, Pete, I would be with you. Now, I kind of agree with the sentiment here. That's kind of a cardinal move, right? Veteran. He's just not veteran enough.
He needs to be 35.
Yet.
Yeah. I mean, but to your point, I mean, they've done this before. They brought in players like Will Clark, Larry Walker, guys that were like, 34 or older, thought they'd get him for one last run. Trout is probably going to be a little too sought after, I think. The Cardinals' move is going to be for still a veteran who's very good and can have, enough left in the tank for a season or two. But I think if Trout were to hit the market this year, they're going to be 5 or 6 teams that go really hard, and there's going to be 5 or 6 that have a lot of things to give, and I don't think the Cardinals do.
Oh God,
So,
I hope you're right.
Agree with you to a point, but problem is he's 32. Elliott said he's not over 34,
Sure.
so it ain't gonna happen.
God, I hope you're right. If I wake up on July 2nd and Mike Trout has been traded to the St. Louis Cardinals, we're doing an emergency podcast, because I'm going to quit. I don't think I could handle it.
The show. No, it will. It would be. Pete,
I'm going to pull her on. You know what? I'm not interested in baseball
So,
anymore. I'm going to go on for the next month.
Trout will be 33 in August. That's really right on the threshold for the Cardinals too.
I think it's a next year move, guys. If at all, right? So Mose is sitting there going, "Oh shit, he's not old enough. I'll at least get a couple years of money off the books here before I do this." Pete, I agree with your notion there that would be just so sickening that you like. I know you're kind of mostly off social media now, but you wouldn't be able to avoid it. It would be all over the place. And it would be disgusting. I'd get tired of it too, and I'd find myself rooting a little bit for Trout's first 3 games to be complete duds, just so I can.
God, Cardinals Twitter would be awful.
It's already unbearable.
Yeah, it's so awful. It'd be like throwing gasoline on a gasoline fire.
No, it'd be like trying to put out a fire with a little can of kerosene.
Jesus.
Right. It would be sick.
You know the gif of Kyle Reese swallowing his microphone? That would be every Cardinals fan.
Not this one, but yes, I know what you're saying. It would be. There would be a record amount of people in the emergency room gagging. What did you gag on? Whatever I had in my hand, whatever it was.
Hey, Ron, did you know that the Cubs are one of the most enjoyable teams in baseball this year? It's science.
We have our friend Duke commenting on YouTube if you haven't checked that out.
Nope, I saw it. I thought he was going to say famous recurring last words because I was predicting Mike Trout to the Cardinals, but he's probably right.
Yeah, I think you're a year too soon for that.
God, I hope so. So David Schoenfeld wrote an article for ESPN today. I don't know if you guys caught it, but he kind of he came up with his own little criteria for determining just how enjoyable the 30 teams in baseball were this year based on star power, youth, base running, all the things that make baseball interesting, right? Great catches, long home runs, that kind of stuff. And you're not going to be surprised who the number one team is. We're not going to talk about them. They're the biggest dicks in the game, but whatever.
Where did the Braves fall on that list?
They actually came in number 3.
Okay.
So top 5 from 5 to 1. The Rangers, Diamondbacks, the Braves, the Orioles, not surprising. Orioles number 2. A lot of youth, a lot of potential. And then
when you
Los
tank
Angeles
for 2 decades,
dickheads.
you.
Yeah, but the Cubs coming in at number 6.
Oh,
I mean, he
that's
came
nice.
up with a nice little thing. I mean, look, when you put together a criteria and you apply it equally, it's science.
Yeah, turn your board up. You got to turn your
Yeah,
board.
I know. Okay, fine. I'll do it again.
It's science.
There, is that better?
That's
yes.
Okay. The Cubs coming in at number 6, and Ron, you'll just be happy to know. I think
They've got to be in the bottom half.
they came in 21st.
It's surprised they were that high. To be honest with you, because you said stolen base. Well, maybe the Victor Scott equation got thrown in there. Maybe not.
He did. He was. Although they didn't give nearly as many points for him because the rationale is he's going back down to the minors as soon as Edmund and Nootbaar return.
Yeah, I think he will. Well, Edmund, Nootbaar, and you got Carlson eventually going to return too. So,
so Elliott, you didn't see this either?
I know. I didn't see this article.
You didn't dig into it. Okay, so we obviously went through the top 6, but here's the real challenge, gentlemen. Give me the bottom 3.
Ooh, A's.
ooh. No, I don't think.
No, but we're going to get to them too.
Really?
White Sox.
White Sox. Yep.
Okay.
They're
that
not
makes sense.
last, but they're down there.
Okay. Rockies.
No, not the Rockies.
Really?
Huh. So I got the White Sox. Did he just disappear again?
Yeah,
He
he's
did.
frozen. I don't know what's going on with
I mean,
my equipment tonight.
No, we can hear
Marlins
you.
probably now that they're 0-8, and a lot of people.
Marlins third from the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were always young because they always suck.
Yeah, that's true. But not just it's not just about youth, it's about enjoyable.
Tell me,
Right,
Mike
but-
Trout and the Angels aren't in the bottom 3.
They are not in the bottom 3. So you guys have correctly identified 29 and 28. Who is the least enjoyable team in Major League Baseball this year?
Hold on. Let me guess. I just want to guess. The Mets?
No, not the Mets.
Detroit.
Not Detroit.
Elliott is complete. He's the most dumbfounded I've ever seen. As I've ever seen. So it's not the Rockies either. So okay. Royals?
Not the Royals.
Oh my God. Is it a team that's actually good, but is in it
No.
not enjoyable to watch?
No, they're not enjoyable to watch, and they're not good. No, it's not the Mariners.
Hold on. Boston?
Not Boston.
Toronto.
This is fun.
I'm gonna go through the whole goddamn league. Tampa Bay?
Further north. It's between Boston and Tampa Bay.
Just Tampa Bay. You say further north. That's a lot of teams still.
Oh, the Nationals.
The Nationals, the least
Nationals.
enjoyable team in baseball,
Really?
according to Dave Schoenfeld.
Huh.
The Nationals. Yeah, that is a bit of it. Okay, well,
Actually, I don't even know very many players on the Nationals anymore.
I know,
That's
right?
kind of the point, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So here you go. He gave their star power a 1, gave their youth a 2, gave their base running a 4.5. Now those first 3 are out of 10. Okay. And then the rest are out of 5. So gave their catches a 1 out of 5. 425 foot plus home runs a 1. And then the minutia, like how great their ballpark is, the soft factors, gave that a 2, and then gave them 1 bonus point for the hope of seeing James Wood and Dylan Cruz later in the season.
Oh my God.
And here's the paragraph he wrote up. This is a team trying to play Jesse Winker in left field and 32-year-old Eddie Rosario in center field. And you can guess how that's going to work out.
Oh.
The youth score is surprisingly low and maybe a little unfair, but Fangraphs isn't projecting much playing time or value for Wood or Cruz. And guys such as Kelbert Ruiz, CJ Abrams, and Mackenzie Gore have been up long enough that they're now in the unofficial post-youth phase of their careers. The president's race is fun, though.
I bet the Iowa Cubs could beat the Nationals in a best out of 7 series.
They might. And maybe the White Sox, too, because the White Sox, objectively terrible.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny now that as Cubs fans, we look back on that Eloy Jimenez trade and like, did we get lucky?
Well, I think I can quote Pete saying that he thought what he would regret about that of all the players the Cubs ended up trading, post 2016 to continue, you thought Eloy Jimenez was going to be the one that came back to fight most.
And I didn't like that trade because I didn't like them giving up Dylan Cease either because he was so close to breaking into the majors. Yeah. And I mean, look, no, he hasn't been consistently great, but he's been good. He's been a far sight better than, up until Justin Steele broke through any other pitcher that they had developed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been their one weakness, obviously, and especially starting pitching.
Yeah. Well, don't talk to me about
I tell you what did you think of Ben Brown's performance? I know it's the Colorado Rockies, but dude, that guy's curveball is ridiculous.
Great. Hey, you know what? Great bounce back after how terribly he got shelled in his first appearance, Texas, right? It was 1 2/3 innings and he gave up, I think, 6 runs for him to come back yesterday in not great weather. And yes, it was the Rockies, but it wasn't great weather. So, you're going to lose a little something when you're pitching in the cold and the rain. For him to go 4 innings and look as good as he did, it's great. Give him some information on what he can work on when he gets sent back down to AAA.
Yep.
I like it. All right, Ron, you mentioned the A's, and we gotta do this one before we call it a night because, oh my God, did you see the news that came out today?
Yeah. I was driving all day.
Oh my God. So we know that the A's are leaving for Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
But the stadium won't be ready for another, I think it's 4 years. And the lease in Oakland ends this year. So rather than negotiate an extension, the ownership wants to get out so badly that next year and for the next 3 years with an option for 2028.
Yeah.
The home of the Oakland A's will be Sutter Health Park, minor league home of the Sacramento River Cats. The Oakland A's will be playing in a minor league stadium, and you know what? They're probably not going to fill it.
Probably not.
Probably not going to fill it, and their attendance is going to be no different than it was before. Where'd you say it was?
Sacramento.
That's amazing. That really is amazing.
That stadium can hold 14,000.
I mean, is
with the grass
Park
berm
still exist?
No.
No, they tear it down.
I'm not sure.
Boy, they should.
No, they tore that down.
Tried to do that instead. I don't know. So they wouldn't even negotiate anything to stay at Oakland Alameda for another.
And when they announced it,
just
they
won out.
on X, X Twitter, they turned off all responses. Actually, the Oakland Athletics Twitter account, you cannot respond to anything that they post. They turned off all comments.
Oh, that is going to be. I'm telling you right now,
joke of a franchise.
And the problem with we'll see how it works out in Vegas, right, guys? Because that's a lot of games.
Yeah,
81 games in Vegas isn't like an event where the Raiders are only playing once a week.
Right.
It is a long haul. It is going to be really interesting to see if they can even fill a Vegas Major League Baseball stadium, 81 games.
Yeah, and we talked about this when this was first announced, right? That Vegas is so transient. It's one thing for you to plan, hey, I'm going to go, my team's going to be playing in Vegas. We're going to do a road trip. We're all going to head out there when the Bears play the Raiders. We'll make a weekend out of it. This is going to be great. Who's going to plan a road trip for the middle of October or the middle of July to Vegas to catch their team on the road?
You go out there, there are going to be at least 40% of those fans that are going to be wearing Bears, orange, and navy.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
No doubt.
But you're not going to do that for baseball.
No, you're not.
This is going to be a
there's too many games.
disaster.
I mean, there's too many. I don't mean too many games in a bad way. I just mean there's just too many. And so, yeah, it's like, people saying, well, Charlotte should have a baseball team. Well, no, they're not going to, because you got Atlanta too close.
It's
You
too
got Baltimore
close to
too close.
Atlanta.
You got DC too close. And it's such a transient. Elliott, you've lived here. Such a transient place. So many Northeasterners live here. People from Jersey, New York, from
And it's the fan bases that are loyal to a fault.
Do you think
Yankees
you're going
fans,
to
Philly
convert
fans,
a lifelong Mets fan just because he lives in
Freaking
Charlotte? He's going to be a Charlotte fan now? Like,
And
not
the
in
same
baseball.
thing. And the same thing's true of Vegas, right? How many of the people who are in Vegas? I mean, think about all the performers who are in Vegas. A lot of them, their actual home base is LA. And they just rent a place or they stay with a friend who's in Vegas. So they're Dodgers fans. They're not going to become A's fans.
I know one native Vegas person that I served in the Marine Corps with. We're on a text string, and I never touch any link he ever sends me. I'm not going to explain why.
Nope, you don't need to. I have to say though, I mean, just for the uniqueness of it, I very well may look at scheduling a trip out to Sacramento just to be able to say,
if we
that
if we make one road trip, it should be that one.
it should be that one.
It really should be that one. It shouldn't be to go see. Oh, we've got to go to what is it still AT&T Park? Is that still the Giants, or is it?
Yeah.
It was
No, I
Pac
think
Bell, and it was
Pac Bell or
Pac Bell was the
whatever.
original, I
Recom,
think.
whatever.
Yeah.
No.
Tampax Stadium, whatever the hell they call it now. I don't know, but it can't be to be like, oh, we got to see this historic, beautiful ballpark. No, it's going to be to go to the Sacramento A's.
Because it's going to be a footnote in history, right? Oh,
Right.
and by the way, Ron, they're not going to call themselves the Sacramento A's next year. They're just going to call themselves the A's or the Athletics. They're not going to be a team. They won't be the Oakland A's, but they're not going to be the Sacramento A's. They're just going to be the A's.
I love it. So on the scoreboard, it's going to say Ath.
Yes, exactly.
On the out of town scoreboard, it's going to say Ath. It's no longer going to say AOK.
Or it's just going to say
zero.
A's.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
OAK, whatever it is, wherever the abbreviation is. Like, it's no longer going to say that. It's going to say Ath.
Or A's, or just A's.
Or just
It'll
A's.
just say A's. But everybody's going to think it says as.
Yeah.
Just throw another S on there, and I think you've got it.
Fantastic.
It really is. Well, gentlemen, I think that's all I've got for this week.
They need to make Moneyball too about this.
Can you even call it Moneyball?
This
Oh
is
my God.
This is the ultimate destination of Moneyball, right?
It is.
This is what
it got
Moneyball gets you.
Mm-hmm. Get you very uninteresting baseball.
Yep. And eventually it destroys your franchise.
It does.
Here's the awesome thing. Next year for the Cubs, they will be playing at the Athletics because the Athletics are in Chicago this year.
There you go.
We're doing it.
St. Louis
Inaugural
St. Louis
season
playoff there?
in Sacramento.
Oh my God. We can only hope that somebody in the major league offices is a secret fan of this podcast, and they're gonna schedule the Cubs and Cardinals back to back. If they do that, we're doing it. We're catching the last game of one series and the first game of the other one.
I could not resist.
That would be too great.
It would be so awesome.
Think about it. The three of us, given
Sacramento.
that there are going to be like 500 people in the stadium, the three of us
Right.
could take over. We can make our presences felt.
we could probably get behind the plate
You're right. We could
for a hot dog and some peanuts.
we could live stream the show from behind the plate.
God.
The very first time that all three of us are in the same place at the same time, and it's a Sacramento River Cats stadium.
Do the 9-for-9 challenge.
That no doubt our old friend Mark Littell probably had coached a game or something there at some point.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Well,
All right.
despite the continuing technical issues, we made it through another one.
You should have got
See what
booted off before, because since you've come back, it's been pretty rock solid.
Yeah, I'd love to know what happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also I switched over from my using my phone as my camera to just the laptop. webcam. Oh, well. Anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your friends to do the same. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. We also occasionally live stream on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Be sure to check out the other Gateway City and Fuel Sports Network podcasts, including the Derek King Sports Show, the X-Fan Show, Talking Sports on the Bleachers with Don Glenn, and, of course, our new favorite, At the Park, STL. You can find Elliott on X at
TOR_Elliott.
And you can find the number one soccer fan in the nation, Ron Nuttall
at TR_Ron75. But I will say, while yes, I might feel like I am, it was a rough loss this last weekend. It was tough. 3-1. They went down to Real Salt Lake. They played Dallas this weekend. They need those 3 points, man. They need them. They're going to get it.
And that's your TOR Soccer Minute. Find Gateway City at Gateway City SPRT, and you can find Fuel at Fuel_SN. Get in touch with us at any social media channel at Team of Rivals Pod. Gentlemen, it's been magical. Ron, take us out.
All right, Pete. Well, thanks for that excellent exit, and it's been a good week. Getting away from home, getting away from the work life, hanging out on the beach a little bit, and looking forward to getting back into the swing of things now that the season is underway. I'm paying a little bit more attention. I might be breaking out of my shell a little bit. I might totally get back into baseball here pretty soon. We'll see. I'm going to be very fair weather this year, and we'll see. Let's give it another week. Maybe I'll jump back on the wagon. But you can't criticize me. I've been on that wagon for like solid, call it 47 years. It's the first one I'm taking a break, but I might be back on it real soon. We'll see. But until next week, we love you all so much. Bye-bye, everyone.